Okay, let's talk about 12.3. This is a much shorter section than the other one. We've covered a lot of basics in 12.2. 12.3, we're going to talk about how to construct perpendicular lines and bisectors. So perpendicular lines and bisectors. Now the warm-up here is pretty easy. It just says our construction's easy, harder, okay. I'm hoping that right now they're about okay. It does take a while to get used to them. It might be a little overwhelming trying to memorize everything, so that may be a reason why they're hard. And you may still be getting used to the tools or something like that, but hopefully we're getting there, and hopefully it'll get to the point where these are really easy. Now, part B says most constructions rely on blank segments, angles, and triangles. Remember, we're talking about using congruent segments, angles, and triangles for all of these. So the next thing that we're going to cover in this section, it says how to construct a perpendicular line to an external point. So what we want to do is we've got this starting line right here, PQ, and we want a line that's perpendicular to this line PQ that goes through R. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to start off, and again, if you want to watch the video, I might have that playing in the background or something, but we're going to come down here and we're going to place the center of the compass on the external point. So I'm going to go ahead and set this up. So I'm going to put the compass point right there, and it's kind of difficult when we have these fat circles and it's not a very large spread on the compass. So we want it to be about 50% longer than the distance to the line. So about that much longer. What we want to make sure of is that we don't go past this line over here. So I'm going to make this a little bit smaller so that I don't go off the edge of the line right there. So we're going to go ahead and make an arc right here. And then we'll flip over to the other side and we'll make an arc right there. Okay. Then we don't change the compass setting for this. We want to draw another set of intersections. So we want to change the center point to over here, and we're going to draw an arc like that. Then we're going to come back here and trade center points. We're going to go to the other intersection, and we're going to go like that right there. And then we're going to grab our straight edge, and we're going to draw that line from this point down to the intersection point right there. So again, I'll go ahead and line these up. That looks like I'm going to go through the center right there, and there we go. So that right there is a right angle. So that's the technique. It's pretty easy to do. So we're going to come over here and we're going to do the same thing on this one. So again, I'm going to set up the compass point to be right there, and then I'm going to go a little bit further than that. Again, just making sure that we don't go past the edge of either one of these line endpoints. So we're going to come over here and come over here. Now, it's totally okay that we're going to run into an intersection point off over here. So again, I'm not going to change the size of the compass. I'm going to leave that adjusted the same. Okay, so I'm going to make a mark right there. And then I'm going to come over here and make another mark from here so that we've got an intersection point. And again, we need to draw a line from that intersection point over to this line right here. So again, I'll set this up right here. I'm going to line those up. Make sure that looks good. Looks good to me. We're going to hold this in place, and we're going to go from here to here. So this is the external point right here, and what we've done is we've made a right angle there. Okay, so that's really all there is to it. So that's a perpendicular to a point that's not on the line. We call that an external point. And then if we want to do the next one, this is constructing a perpendicular line to a point on the line. Okay, so this needs to be on the line. So again, I think on this one, I'm going to have you go ahead and watch the video really quickly, and then I'll come back and then we'll do this one. So this is a pretty quick construction. So you'll notice that the first thing we need to do is we need to set the compass to kind of a medium width. It doesn't matter as long as we don't extend past the edge of the line. So I'm going to set up the center point right here. I'm going to go to right there. And then what we're doing is it's very similar to what we did on the last one. So I'm going to mark it right here and mark it right there. So we had 2 points on these lines right here that were the same distance from this right here. So there's a lot of similarities here. We're just kind of doing this in a little bit different fashion. So down here, once we get these 2 that are equidistant from that center point, we want to increase the width of this. So we can't stay right here. We want to make it a little bit bigger. So I'm going to make it about that big. As long as it doesn't go off the bottom of the page, I think we're going to be okay. So I'm going to go ahead and set the center point right there at that intersection. Draw a little line. Okay, and then over here we're going to do the same thing, center point, trade over there. Now you'll notice on this one that I almost went off the page there, and I almost didn't draw that one long enough. So make sure you're drawing those long enough. It's got to be kind of even with that one there. And then I'll go ahead and grab the straight edge. We'll line that up. Line up the intersection point over here, make sure that looks good, and it does. So I'll just draw that right there, and that's a 90-degree angle. So we'll do the same thing on this one. Again, we adjust our compass. Okay, these go pretty darn quickly. So I'm going to make it a little bit smaller there, so it'll be about like that. Come over on the other side, draw that. And then we increase the width, so we have to make this a little bit longer. So I'm going to come over here. And then again, if I started right here, you can see that it wouldn't be long enough. It's not going to intersect. So I want to make sure that I come over far enough, kind of go past that vertical line or that perpendicular line that would go through there. So again, I'll line this one up. Looks like we're in good shape there. Okay. And once I mark that, we are all set. Okay, so one reason these are a little bit easier and faster is because we're not making copies of anything. What we're doing is we're taking something that's already there and then just adding something to it. Okay, let's take a look at the next page. Okay, on this next page, what I want you to do is go ahead and watch the video. Again, there's only 5 steps here. They're pretty easy, and then we'll run through and do one together while we're watching it play in the background. Okay, as you can see, that's actually a pretty easy process. But what I want to do right now is I want you to take a look and see if you can see any of the congruent triangles that made this turn out so we had a right angle right there. So there's actually a whole lot of stuff going on. When we made these arcs right here and right here, what we did is we made sure that this line is the same as that line right there, and then same on the other side because we didn't change the compass. So that line is the same as that line right there. Okay, so I'm actually going to put 2 on there because they've already put 1 right there. Now, when we go through and do this, what we've basically done is we've got an angle copy right here and an angle copy right here. All of those angles would be the same. Then we take advantage of the fact that not only is this big triangle on the right side the same as this big triangle on the left side, we can also show that the triangle on the top here is the same as the triangle on the bottom here, and the same thing here. So this really has no choice but to be a 90-degree angle. So we've actually used, if you looked at it really closely, the proof for this is quite complicated. We've actually used side, 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 side angle, and angle, side, angle to get to the bottom of this. So for such a simple idea, it's actually pretty complex as far as the theorems that we would use to show that that actually works. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to come down here and we're going to make a perpendicular bisector. So remember what we do. We want this entire length to be cut in half by a line that goes perpendicular through it. So we want to set this compass so it's about 2/3 of the length here. So a little bit more than half. So we'll go about like that. And we want to go from one end to the other. And we're going to mark up here. And then we're going to mark down here. Then we're going to do the same thing from the other side, again, without changing the compass. So we're going to put an intersection right here and an intersection right here. And then we grab our straight edge, again, line that up. Looks pretty good. I'm looking good down here. And there we go. So what happened here is, like the other ones before, you'll notice on the other side we actually had arcs right here that we had to make. This is the same type of thing here. So we've got a right angle right there, but we've taken advantage and we've made those equal to each other. So what we've done is we've cut this original segment in half, we've bisected it. So really quickly, we'll do another one. Why don't you get a little bit of a head start on that one and see how quickly you can do that. This one's tilted off to the side. So again, we're going to put our compass point right here, stretch it to a little bit more than 2/3. Again, I'm going to go kind of slow on this one. We're going to come up here, put an arc, down here, put an arc. Do the same thing from the other side. So again, we'll set up the compass point right on the end of the line. It's got to be on the end of the line to make sure that it bisects it. We're going to go here and then down there. And notice that we made sure we're doing long enough arcs that they are going to intersect when we're done. So we'll come in here, I'm going to line up my pencil with that intersection. Check this intersection right here. Looks like we're in good shape. Go ahead and draw that. We're going to mark that as a right angle, and we'll indicate that those two are congruent. So go ahead and do the self-assessment on there. Can you construct perpendicular lines and bisectors? Pretty quick section. Good luck on the assignment.